You want to learn a cheap way to make decoys and to make your spread a lot bigger? Hang tight. I'm going to show you something. So what I have here behind me are all jugs. Been saving them up for the past few months. You can use milk jugs. If you drink a lot of sweet tea like I do, you can use the sweet tea jugs, but use the ones with the screw-on cap. And the reason for that, I'll show you next for that. So with the screw-on cap, you're going to have more of an airtight seal versus the one that's just that just pop on. So you can actually get it on there, make sure it's nice and tight, and there you go. So the next part to turn this into a decoy and to make it work for you, we'll hop right into that part. So what I have here is the cheap Walmart flat black paint. Make sure it's flat. You don't want to use glossy or satin. And the other one is the flat white paint. To make your spread a lot bigger, if you're hunting the big ducks like mallards, pintails, widgeon, that sort of thing, where you don't want to include the white end, like as if you're hunting divers or sea ducks, you can just paint your jug completely black. Now, if you're painting your jugs to hunt divers and sea ducks, or even if you have divers around when you're killing mallards and pintails and that sort of thing, you can mix it up. So now, how you paint this jug, I would do it like I'm painting them, because if you do it differently, a different pattern than this, it's not going to look natural. I'm going to go ahead and get one of these jugs painted for you, and you can see this process. So for the first color, you want to start off with black, and what you're going to do, if you don't have gloves or anything like that, you want to pretty much just do light strokes. That way you're not just on the nozzle the entire time. It's just a technique of spray painting if you've ever spray painted before. And don't worry about going over into the middle, because that white is going to correct it. So what I'm going to do is hit one side, and then after I get this one side done, so that way I don't spray paint my hand, I will turn it around. There you go. So we're pretty much all black. So even if you miss a few spots, it's fine. You just want to get it mostly all black on both ends. Another thing to keep in mind too is this handle part's going to be down in the water, so you don't really have to worry about getting paint on the handle. So if you're holding it like I am, just try not to hit your fingers, so that way you don't have paint all over yourself. All right, so now we got a black jug, and if you wanted to stop with this, you could, but the next process of this is adding the white. All right, so I got my can all shaken up now. This next step, like I said, is the pattern that you need to do for divers. What we're gonna do is you gotta be a little bit careful, and you're pretty much gonna cut off one half of the jug and one half of the jug, and you pretty much want to make a white band around it. And hopefully, if I can get this on camera, I got my phone on a tripod here, it'll work out so that way y'all can see it. So I normally hold it up like this, and that's the way I hit it, instead of like with the black what I was doing with it laying on its side. So that way I can get my straight line. All right, and there you have it. Now, if you have overspray into the black, you can leave it because it kind of blends in nice, or you can turn around and come back with that black and just hit it and try to clean up the line a little bit, but you don't want it to be a sharp line. You want it to either be faded white into black or black into white, because if it's a sharp line, it just doesn't look as natural. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold this this can for a little bit, so that way the paint can dry, and yeah, that's the first decoy. And you can see I got tons more to do behind me. As I've been preaching pretty much the whole summer, there's a million ways to skin a cat. All right, so This is one way I do it. And what I'm going to show you next is how to set up the line, how to actually hold them in place. Now divers, what they like to see, and sea ducks, what they like to see is lines. So that's the reason why you come across like the terminology of having a long line or long line decoys. So how you achieve that versus just connecting like a weight to it and just dropping it down to the bottom and it being a singular decoy just by itself. You can either go purchase yourself a long line like this one. Yeah, it's super tangled. It comes with the attachments where you can actually hook it to the bottom of the decoy if you have diver or, you know, and any sort of, you know, decoy that you want to attach to it. Now, what I like to do, yes, I have this because my brother-in-law bought it for me. But if you want to save a little bit of money, you can go get yourself some trout line from Walmart. I think this thing cost me like $4. And what you do is, it's essentially this line that you can purchase. I think it was Northern whatever from like Bass Pro. What you can do is either tie yourself, so you pretty much want to, you know, make a loop, tie a knot, bring that loop back through, and so that way you have, you know, that piece of rope tied in a knot right there, and you can attach a swivel to it, and then attach a piece of I don't know, like the guts out of the 550 cord or out of the paracord, and just you know, tie it to where you have like the extra rope that makes a loop out of the hole, and use a swivel and attach both of them. Another option that you can do is you can purchase something like this. Lifetime Decoys makes this little attachments for their jerk rig, or you can just go buy this thing right here. I don't know the name of it. If you know the name of it, drop it below. But essentially how you use this, and not a lot of people know how to use it, so you can pinch it like this, right? You take your line and you run it in that big lip, and it clamps back down, and so that way it's gonna hold it in place. So when you go to pick up your decoys, all you do is squeeze it, detach it from your rope, and then you have your jug and, you know, just this, and you can, you know, throw them into a big, you know, trash can if you have that in your boat, or you know, you can pretty much throw them anywhere in a decoy bag or something like that, or just throw them in a boat, because if they get messed up, all you do is just hit it with paint. Now what I plan on doing, I want to purchase a whole bunch of these, and I can just make this myself with the swivel and, you know, attach it onto here. So, but for just cheap purposes, I may end up just going with the swivel, tying on a piece of string onto that thing, and it'll save me a lot more money versus buying, you know, packs of 6 or packs of 12 of these. So, because I think these run, I don't know, I want to say like $15–20 for, I think 6 of them from Lifetime Decoys, which Lifetime, of course, a little bit more expensive, but at least you have it and it's already made for you. Now, with this rope, pretty much what you want to do is, for the line that goes out to your anchor, you measure out, normally I do about 20 feet, because you don't know how deep of water that you're going to be working in. And let's say you end up getting to a spot and it's only like 8 feet deep, right? Since you have since you have your first attachment of your decoy being, you know, up here, and that's your 20-foot mark, you know, from this long strand that doesn't have anything on it, you can drop your weight down to the bottom, see how deep it is, bring it back up, you know, you can measure it out, tie your weight, you know, to your 8-foot mark, and then drop it down in the water, and then your first decoy is pretty much hanging right above the anchor. And then how I space mine out, I normally do mine about 3 feet apart. So you can do less, you can do more, and every 3 feet you turn around and put a jug at your marks, and you run it all the way out, and then the tail end of it, some people put weights at the end of it too, and some people just leave it free line. Personally, I like it free line because the way that the wind's working, because typically you always want your wind at the back, you know, at your back, it's going to be blowing the decoys out ahead of you. And if you put your long lines, you know, you got line number 1, number 2, and number 3 here on the screen, those birds will come in. It's almost like a runway for them. So if you put your weight at the end of it, it's going to hold them there. And let's say the wind turns around and changes on us, which it always does whenever we're hunting. And you know, you turn around and you get a crosswind, that decoy line's going to stay right there versus not having to wait at the other end. Those decoys can turn around and transition and look the other way, of which could turn around and get you tangled up. So you have to make sure that your lines are spread out far enough so that way they don't get tangled up, and be prepared to just readjust. If you want an example of me using a long line like this, I'll go ahead and put it in one of the cards up here in the corner. You can go ahead and click on it now and it'll flip you over to that video. Now here at the end of the video, you can go ahead and click on this video right here and it'll show you my most action-packed video I had from last season. We were shooting mallards, wood ducks. We had a whole bunch of other different ducks come through, but I'm a terrible shot, so of course we didn't kill those. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. And if you want to see me hunting with these over throughout the season, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you see the uploads. So we're live every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on this channel. And Lord, I can't wait for the season. All right, I've been Chris. This has been Duckalope Outdoors. Y'all stay safe out there.